Hey, so how do you define love? Alright, so what's the greatest lesson you've learned from a past relationship? Shit. Describe the feeling of an orgasm. Yo, welcome to the Raw Dog Show. I'm your host, Mr. Armando Cervantes. Girl, you know that you want this and I can tell by the way you flaunt it. And today, we talking about love. Each episode, we feature an up-and-coming song on love and an always special guest host sharing their unique perspective on love, sex, and relationships. This episode's jam is Jello by my man, representing all the way from Tel Aviv, Egozi. Make sure to check out the rest of the song at the end of this episode. And today's guest hosts, we have Mark.
What's going on? This is Mark, 37 years old, and I'm married.
And we have Kiana.
Hey guys, I'm Kiana, I'm 32, and I am married as well.
Beautiful. So, glad to have both you two here. I'm excited to learn from both your experiences and pass down wisdom. I will ask you each 3 questions. One on love, one on relationships, and one on sex. So, without further ado, let's go in raw. How do you define love?
It's interesting because I've been having this conversation lately. I feel like love is more of an action. And although people can describe it with verbs, right? I think it's really nothing but energy and action that you constantly show and give. This form of energy that is healing, encouraging, and spontaneous.
So with this energy, is it just something you just naturally feel inside of you?
Yeah, I definitely believe that. I definitely believe it's similar to like a chill or goosebumps that you can feel right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to develop and grow, and in some cases you'll never get it. You know what I mean?
That's very sad, you know. All right, Kiana.
Initially, my perspective on love was something that everybody was going to get to experience. And as I became a therapist, I started to realize that love is so subjective to what people believe they deserve, what they feel they're capable of giving. And sometimes people can love you, but you can't match it, so you run away from it. And so at this point in my life, I think that love looks like pushing past that vulnerability. So those points in time in your life where it's scary, but to remain wherever you are is going to be more of a hindrance than seeing what's on the other side.
Like as a therapist, you see a lot of people are forming their idea of love. Where does that idea come from? Is it just like from their childhood?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times the idea is sort of this mix of a lot of things, right? It's kind of how we get ideas about everything. Like, what does it look like to be a person in the workforce? And then we've got ideas like, oh, you really made it if you got a briefcase or something like that, you know? So it's kind of this collection of things we've seen that work, things from movies, things we've seen other people have that we wish we could achieve, and we create our own definition. One of the challenges in the therapeutic room has been to ask people, can you do that definition to yourself? Oftentimes the answer is no.
Good. Wow.
And that's kind of how this is a lot of the conversation that we have is, do you even love yourself? If you really love yourself, you want to spread that energy to other people.
Right.
But then there's this other thing that's super powerful, and it's lust. In reality, lust it's a good thing. It actually sparks, in some cases, love.
It's the primal urge.
It's the primal urge.
Yeah.
You really need that thing, especially if there's going to be any form of intimacy or romance, right? that lust is needed to kind of spark it, right? But sometimes that lust gets interpreted as love.
It's really the experiences that create that wisdom that gives you the discernment between lust or love.
Because we oftentimes don't have these conversations at younger ages about what is love, or teaching ourselves at a younger age what love is. Right? We often learn what lust is because we're told you can't have sex until you're married. Wait till you're 18 to have sex.
And you're just you're holding it.
And you're holding it in. You're holding it in. And some of us don't hold it in, right? So we're like, gotta get it, right? And so you go out and you experience it, and then that lust is so powerful at a young age. You're like, oh, that felt amazing. I gotta have that again because they told me not to, and that's what love is. But no one's breaking down what love is because we really haven't been trained to love ourselves, especially if our parental figures, in some cases, haven't really taken the time to love themselves. Then we sometimes get caught inside this weird wave into what lust is, and then we're navigating lust and love until hopefully we ask the right questions of ourselves, run into the right relationships. And by right relationships, I mean at that time they were very wrong for us. You know what I mean?
You have to go through a couple relationships to understand it.
Hit your head on the wall. And you're like, that was so wrong. But actually, that was so right because it gave you the wisdom that you needed to ask questions of yourself.
And I think if you were to get to a place of like real love, not only for yourself, but like what that looks like to entertain within a relationship, you actually could go back through every single one of your relationships and find gratitude for the lesson that got you to that person. You know, so if you can go back through them, even the worst of the worst one, and be able to find that spark of gratitude, like that's how you know that you got that wisdom notch.
And I oftentimes have to go back in meditation and say thank you to my exes who don't live in Texas.
I knew you were gonna say it, dude.
But you really have. But like I feel like at one point I used to be pissed at them.
Oh, dude, you hate them for
you hate them for a while. Yeah. You know what I mean? But then you have to sit back and think like, man, if I didn't have this relationship and deal with these issues, I might not have met my wife, or I could have met my wife and not been prepared for her. Yeah. And then she would escape me. So I have to thank each and every last one of them through meditation only. And so, you know, I'm extremely blessed, and I say thank you to you all.
So do you believe your first crush is pure lust?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I was a young Mac in these streets, bro.
Yeah.
No, this is real talk.
All right, go ahead, dude. Please.
This is real talk. Like I was wearing silk shirts, gold chains
at 12.
At 12.
Oh my God.
But like at 9,
you were that kid on the block.
I was that kid. I was that kid in the church. I had an older cousin, one of the smoothest dudes I ever known. He was not disrespectful to women. At no time had I ever witnessed it in my life. But he was just putting me on game at a very young age. He introduced me to, I love cologne. I love to smell good because of this guy. I love to dress good because of this guy.
How much older is he than you?
He's like my father's age. And he took me under his wings. And many of our cousins wanted to be him. We couldn't be him because he's him. You know, his life experiences created him. Our life experiences created us. At a young age, I was attracted to women. I don't think my first crush was lustful. I think it was very innocent. But then when I got 12, that shit was hella lustful.
I don't know. I think, like my parents, by the time like ideas about boys and stuff were a concept, my parents had split up. It's old school, so like tapes in the car. It was like Toni Braxton and Mary J. Blige, but it was some like hardcore, like you broke me, you hurt me, you left me kind of music. And Vanessa Williams, like, and I'm singing my little heart out, like, and that becomes part of my perception of what relationships are supposed to be. Yeah, that there's gonna be some pain to it. the natural process of it.
And I guess for me, it was a little bit different because my parents, they're still together. And so it became this background for me of why aren't they showing the work that it takes for a relationship versus the start or the end. There's a lot of stuff in between.
Like when your parents are loving you as a kid, like you're saying, you're just seeing the good parts of what love is, but you don't see that your mom, like she's giving you all the attention, but you don't see that when she goes back in her room, she's probably stressed out about what happened at work or, what happened here, the bills. Like she's not showing that to you as a kid. So a lot of the ideal version of love also does come from just the way your parents love you, because they're showing you all these great things, but behind the doors when you're sleeping or, when you're not around, that's when they're showing their other side that they don't want to show you.
Like I got a chance to observe something that I thought was really unique that my parents would do. They would go for like a walk together without my brother and I. As I got older, I was like, why were you guys doing it? And he was like, we were just having our own time. And so they were either hashing out some stuff that they needed to work out, or they was talking crap about me and my brother. You know what I mean? Or whatever, but that was their time where they got a chance to like just be them and work on whatever was the issue of the time. And I thought that was pretty interesting technique that could possibly be something that my wife and I tried. I don't know. She may be like, that was for your parents, that was for me. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I just don't know. So I'm not going to, hold that over her head like this is something that we must do, because it may not even work for us, right? But it was a technique that we should find something as we have children to figure out something that we need to do to hold our own sanity and get lost and not get lost in our children and still have this thing.
All right, next question. What's the biggest lesson you've learned from your past relationships? So basically, what have you learned from your past relationships that have given you your definition of love today?
I'll let you go first on this one.
So what's our deal?
I'll go first.
I'm messing with you. So in my family, like love languages are like gifts. In many ways, like love was expensive. Like love was like me buying you an Armani watch. Our love was like me taking you out to dinner. Our love was like me showing up on the end as a woman that like I'm not here just for what you can bring to the table, but I also can bring something to the table. When I got into my relationship with Mark, it didn't feel like work. It just felt like something I wanted to show up to. And that really made me question, is this shit really supposed to be as hard as the world has been telling me that it was supposed to be?
Okay. Do you feel like your love language is still gift giving? Or do you feel like it's changed more to, like, say, quality time or...
I feel like it's still gift giving, but it doesn't mean a monetary gift. Your presence is a gift, but if you don't really see the value in yourself, you wouldn't really think that your presence is a gift. So like,
and how is that different from quality time?
Well,
so I would say it's different from quality time because I can be, with you and present in the moment, but still feel like I'm shortchanging you. Like there's a little bit more that I could kind of give.
It's like give your energy.
Exactly. And so then it turns into what weighs more to a person individually. So if I still think that money is a big thing, then the way that I show up for you has to be as much as my money would be.
Which is something that I feel like we learned, regardless of money being in a relationship. Do we want to be with each other? Mm-hmm. When the money's up, do we love each other more? When the money's low, do we love each other less? And if it's in the middle across the time, then the money is just always going to go up and down. Right. And so,
how do you do that though? How do
you separate yourself from money emotionally?
And I think sometimes life will present you with moments where
you get tested with that shit.
You just
often
don't have the money to show up the way that you would want.
That's not what I was talking about. But
no, but yes. When he had asked that,
I know, but I was jumped the gun. I was like, "What? Wait a minute."
I wasn't trying.
Keep going.
I know you. No, I wasn't trying to do that.
First off, we ain't super broke. But
Well, then that sounds mad insecure, and that wasn't even where I was going
I
with that.
I was just trying to have a little bit of fun. You know, it's the Raw Dog Show.
Oh.
Yeah, and so those are some of the lessons that I had to deal with in previous relationships, and I've grown past those things. And had I not experienced those things in my past, I would not be able to bring this evolution to this conversation at this time. So thank you to all my exes who don't live in Texas.
All right, next question. Let's make this a little more lighthearted. Describe the feeling of an orgasm.
Electric, baby. It's electricity.
Is that?
If you don't know what electricity is, look it up.
Google electricity.
It's electric. Boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie. When you orgasm, you're going to feel it. A really good one. I mean, men, when we orgasm, it's always an orgasm, right? But there's different levels of that orgasm, which we often don't talk about. There's some that you can feel from like the very tip of your head all the way down your spine to your core chakra, you know?
Ew.
And that's an electric like bolt that like tingles, you know? And then other times it's just like a tingle wingle. Yeah, just like a.
Oh, like when you get a little chill or something?
It's not a little chill. It's more like an electric chill. Like,
How long does the other one last?
They never last. Like
it doesn't last
really long.
But
it's
one
just,
you can just feel
one is definitely very intense. You know, I think that's. I don't want to talk about where it comes from because I don't really necessarily know. But one is definitely very rememberable. Like you're gonna remember that often.
Oh, okay.
The other one is like you having sex, so it's gonna happen.
Okay.
How many memorable orgasms?
Damn, boy, you
Have you had?
getting real personal. You getting real personal. But I guess he going raw.
I am.
Raw Dog Show.
I'm asking the deep questions. Like,
well, I don't know, man. Like, I definitely remember 2, for sure. I've happened, you know,
in your entire life, like that you
two real ones that I really know. You know what I mean? But others I've had, but 2 real ones. 2 real ones.
Oh, when were those?
And one.
Oh damn. I hope
the very last one was with my wife.
The very last.
Yes. All right.
Winning.
Got it.
All right.
You better answer this question.
Stop playing. Okay, so for me, growing up, like in the church, like sex was a very taboo thing. Like you're not supposed to do it until you get married. And though I did not wait, sorry, mom and dad, until I was married, it was almost like this restrictive thing, like not giving myself permission to feel something completely.
It didn't allow you to fully open
like
up to it.
Mentally, I don't think that I could. So to be completely honest, I don't think that I did have an orgasm until I was married because there was just still psychological kind of like locks. And then even once we got married, well, okay.
Hey, please.
But even once we got married, I think it took a while for me to be able to like fully free myself.
Damn.
Like fully free myself to allow myself to be like all the way in that moment without like all of those negative thoughts that I had been telling myself for years about like what this like whole sexual experience was supposed to be like. So Mark would often say things like, just let go, like be free, all of these
That's
different
real.
things. So
For sure.
I think when I don't need commentary. I think when I actually like allowed that to happen, it felt like, you know, what it feels like to really be free in a moment, like whatever that may look like, you know, that that feeling you get like after you've been at work and you don't want to be and you finally off and you're like, whew, or like whatever those kind of like ultimately freeing moments feel like.
Just full freedom.
Yeah, full freedom. And it really changed the way sex looked like in our marriage. Yeah. And I don't want you to do that. Thank you. In our marriage or anything like that, because it, you know, well, I asked you not to do it because I felt like I was really trying to give you like some mad kudos, and then you was doing these side like, this is DJ Easy Dick shit, and I was like,
Easy Dick.
I'm trying to be serious right now. But yeah, I think that's what, for me, it felt like what it looks like to fully surrender to something and to be like fully present in a moment. And it was just kind of like this major flood of emotions. I felt safe. I didn't feel like, what's this gonna look like when it's over? Will this person leave? Like, not, you know, just being free of any expectations of what it looks like when it's over. Because there's always an expectation of what sex is going to look like when it's over. Like, am I going to still be with this person? Are they still going to like me? Was that good enough? Did I perform well? All of these different things kind of like flood your head. And like, what would it look like if you just freed yourself from those expectations and was just there? And so I think that like when I allowed myself to have an orgasm, like that's what it was like. Like, shit, this is here. This is now. This is like the present. Go ahead. So yeah.
All right, so let's cut to a quick break, and when we get back, Mark, Kiana, and I will answer one question off of RAWDOGShow.com. RAWDOGShow.com.
Play with your games and now that you're denying it. Losing this game, I can't afford to be losing this game. And I know you're the safest bet. The rules in my mind can't find the words, no, I can't seem to find. But I'm really trying to get.
And now time for a Raw Dog Freestyle.
Yo, is Kiana coming to the mic? Rapping about some love, truth, and light. I'm just saying shit I think rappers say before they start. Check it. Lots of people didn't think we would make it, but our love still prevailed. What's the secret? Hell, we love kale. No, I'm kidding. We don't really like no kale. It's a lot of trust and unity to make this shit work with you and me. Let me see. Here it go. Look, don't let nobody tell you what this love shit's supposed to look like. You two write the code, and y'all gonna be alright.
Yo, this shit was extra nice. Now I come through with the extra spice. It's all love. How we spread this thing. Yeah, I love you every day. Yeah, I'm caking on this microphone, but it's okay, because I destroy this shit every day.
Yo, I'm Armando Cervantes. Girl, you know that you want this. Here sipping on some troublemaker, knowing that I'm gonna meet my maker. One day coming in with the shaker, knowing how we gon' talk about love. What's up, Dove? Lost the rhyme, and now I'm coming back low with a bit of time. Now I'm gonna cut to the break. No, how we shake. Ride out.
We dip on yellow, whether we dip on shallow. Please me now, cause we're about to lose. Whether we buy or hello, whether we step on jump.
All right, so now we're back. This question comes off of our website, RAWDOGShow.com. And this question is from JP. And his or her question is, does someone's body count really matter?
So, I'll put it like this. Yeah. It matters.
Why?
Well, it matters for this reason. If you are an experienced male in these streets, it all depends on how experienced or inexperienced the male is, right?
Okay.
So if you're an inexperienced male and you find the person
Gotta correct
for
myself.
you that has a higher body count, not necessarily than you, but a body count that's a body count, like she was out there murdering some things.
What's that murder body count?
15 plus,
Okay.
right? 15. We'll say 30.
Dude, but
plus.
think about it. Women
We'll say 30 plus.
But if you think about it, even though women are having a lot of sex, they might not be having satisfying sex.
Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous, bro. That's absolutely ridiculous.
How?
Because if you didn't hear, my lady just laughed as you said that.
All right, go.
The reason why is what is satisfying. Are you talking about orgasm? Okay, sure. But like women don't necessarily lock into orgasms the way men do.
How?
They have a completely different.
Kiana, how?
I mean, I guess the question is about body count. So if you're talking about a woman that has a large body count, then sex doesn't have the same meaning like it would if we're talking about like
The inexperienced man.
intimacy and
Right.
connection.
Oh, so you're saying more like you have to be at the same level
Yes.
of body count.
Yes, or similar. Because if you step out there, let's say you got 10, and you think 10 is killing it, right?
Yeah, you think you're a
got 10, and she's got 35, 40. And at this point, at like 20, she was over intimacy. So now it's something different for her.
Or like something different's going to connect her with you.
Something, well, she's not connecting to you off of sex. It's something else that draws that thing in. So you may be going into sex for intimacy. She can care less about intimacy. She's still going to get off. She's still going to have an orgasm, but not in the ways that you think she will. So then
That's a good
what
point.
happens is that you guys have to learn each other in such a way where intimacy becomes mutual for the two of you. That shit may take some time. And you may not have that time to put in the work that's going to be
and
required for
there's
that.
a lot of other issues that will come up
A lot of other issues.
because of the body
Because
count
then,
being different.
let's be real. How many of us have seen real sex as a kid? Not you, because you're still thinking about it. You, not you, because you've been thinking about it.
All right, what do you
All
mean?
right, then I'll speak for the rest of us who know what real sex is on HBO.
please.
Cheers to the
Oh,
the
you're
kids.
talking about the HBO show.
Oh, now he knows.
I
Yes.
still don't.
I
Okay.
didn't watch. I mean, I watched Showtime.
Oh, this guy was bougie. So
it was the 3-day free trial that they would have like once every 3 months. That's when I would watch porn.
well, I would have to watch it at my grandmother's house because we never had cable in the basement, and it was always some wild stuff going on. And it was always the same shows from like the 80s, even in the 90s. But anyhow, there's only like 6 different types of penises, or maybe 12 to give it an extra kick, right? And there's only 12 types of vaginas.
Dude, please expand on that. Like, I need to hear.
No, I'm not lying. You got Google right next to you.
So
Okay.
you mean
Look,
just like
everybody
size
listening,
and
Google
girth
size,
and
girth,
depth?
length.
Okay.
Depth, all of that. There's only 12 different. It's only 6 to 12 different types of penises. There's only 6 to 12 different types of vaginas that exist in this world.
Okay.
So, if you out there smashing a lot, 9 times out of 10, you're going to see more of those than not. The less times you have sex, you may only see like 1, 2, 3, 4 of those things. The more sex you have, the more opportunities you run into all 12. Now, let's say you run into all 12, whether you're male or female.
Damn.
You can give a damn about what a penis look like, or what a vagina feel like. You've already felt them all. You've already seen them all. So now it's a little bit different. I'm not crazy. Google this stuff. It exists. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to add real quick, because I feel like a lot of like the body count is the male ego. Like, we just feel like, oh, all these other guys have been inside you. But
Yeah.
what it is when a woman's the most intimate with a guy, that's when she has the best sex, and that's also when the guy has the best sex.
I don't know if that's true. Some women, okay. Some women have been pissed on. Some women have been walked on like dog leashes and all kind of stuff like that. This is like, since we're talking about sex, these are things that have actually happened, right?
Yeah.
And the more opportunity the more sex you have, the more likely you're going to be doing some more freakier things.
That's true.
So, now you've been with somebody whose body count is extra high. They probably been walked on the leash or pissed on just to see what it is. Now you're going to connect with this person.
You're trying to have some
You're trying to
missionary.
You're trying to fucking throw roses in the air and let that shit fall as you have sex. And she's like, motherfucker, I've been walked on a leash. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a completely different vibe, dog. So yes, body counts matter. If you want to connect intimacy, you probably want to stay within a ballpark that works for the both of you.
So the same, you have to be in the same range with
Same
each other.
For y'all. You know what I mean?
Well, that's interesting.
Ooh.
Please, I really want to hear what Kiana has to say
So,
because it's like sex is
yeah.
different for men and women. Like,
Well, when Mark and I first started dating, that was like legit one of his questions to
Sure
me.
was.
Like,
how early into the relationship?
Not 6 or 7 months.
Early.
Like very early. Like we hadn't had sex. But
She wasn't
like,
walked on no leash.
bruh. Like we hadn't had sex or anything. But that was one of the questions. It was like, what was my body count? And I was like really taken back by that because it was just a super direct, like, what are your numbers type of thing. And then I remember being very self-conscious. Like, if I go too low, is he not going to believe me? If I tell the truth, am I a hoe? Like, I started, like,
Yeah, that's true.
questioning, like, myself and, like, what. And so I chose to be honest because I'm like, I don't know how this is gonna work out. I told the truth and he laughed like, oh, we Gucci, we good, like, wow.
Gucci.
You know, and I was just kind of like, okay, but when he gave me his number, it's like 3-4 times, 5 times, 6 times higher.
Now she making me seem
No,
like a male
you was.
prostitute.
You were. You was really out here in these streets. And so, like, now the question is, does the
Mark's
body
smiling
count matter, right? On
Yeah.
It
my
does.
end as
It
a
does.
woman.
It
Because
does.
now,
sure.
like he just said, he's been around the block. So, like, how can I ever sexually perform when you've got 32 different comparisons? That's not the real number.
But I never walked a female on a leash. I never golden shower a female or nothing extra
But
crazy
see that,
like
but
that.
Mark, that goes back to what you're saying. Like, if the numbers are so different, then how does it not matter? You know?
Like,
Okay.
what sets me apart?
What
Yeah.
sets you apart is that I never lost track of who I was in the process.
So then why did it matter to ask me?
Because you could have lost track. I've been with people who lost track of who they were.
So you feel like you had been with enough that you understood sex well enough that you'd be able to tell based off of what she was saying whether she had lost track or not.
Yeah, it would be based off of her numbers and certain things she was into sexually that would say, okay, she's not in tune to intimacy anymore. And if she wasn't in tune to intimacy anymore, then I don't know if I could hold on to that.
And I think for me, after we had that conversation and there was such a large discrepancy between like my numbers and his numbers. No. I think for me, the question was, does that really matter? And to be honest, I could care less about your numbers, but way more about your sexual health. So it turned into both need to get tested before
I got tested
we meet, like,
in the snow.
Present those papers to me when I see you if we are going to engage in that. And it was like hanging on his wall like a little plaque. But I mean, because the thing is like you could have one number and get HIV. So like if your body count is what you're going to base things on, you know, the real question is, what does your sexual health look like with that? Because, you know, if
that's how you look at it.
Yeah.
It's really like, what's your sexual health?
Yeah.
I need to know both.
Well, both are important, but if you have a large body count, then I really need to know that. That's going to make a determination about whether I stay in your body count. Because if you got a whole bunch of experience, maybe you could teach me some shit. I'm down.
I see that.
Very true. Very true. And sexual health is always key. It's more so, again, man, if you are into intimacy and you cherish that thing.
Oh, so what you think of sex is how you look at body count.
For me.
Okay.
That makes really good sense.
For me.
Yeah.
So I've been in situations where intimacy was not on the receiving end. That wasn't even part of the conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was for me. And so, you know, there's a couple of things they say you got to have in a relationship. Sex, money, and what is it, politics or something like that? Inside of a relationship, you know?
Okay.
Sex, money, and something else. I forget the third thing. So if the money's solid, but the sex is off, somebody might, you know, venture off.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So I was concerned about those things because I experienced those things. And it doesn't feel good to have to experience certain things, man. So, you know, I prefer intimacy. I have intimacy. I cherish that. I believe that those things get lost over time with the body count.
In your early sexual experiences, were you looking more for intimacy and then intimacy died off as
No.
you kept on sleeping with more women?
No. When I was a young man, I was a young man.
Okay.
I was I didn't even know what intimacy was. You know what I mean? I was like just doing stuff because that's what you were supposed to be doing. So I did it. And then over time it just became
So it's really just like a view of how you both have to see sex in the same way.
yeah.
And then body count only matters if it's affecting the way you see sex.
Yes. Like some guys could deal with a female that they consider a whore, and some guys can't, right? Some guys can care less about it. Some guys care, right?
That's what
So it all depends on, like, the guy who can care less probably has experienced things in his life where he can identify to certain things. A guy who cares probably hasn't experienced certain things in life that would make him care, or he has been the guy who has hurt women in such a way where he doesn't want to be hurt by a woman like that. Let's say you had her on a leash. I'm not saying that you did, but let's just say, and the other guy was like, I would never put you on a leash. I honor you. And right? And then she was like, you were number 3, now you're number 33. Right?
Fuck.
And so
Well, the crazy thing is, this 33 could have been the first person. But as you experience more things, they just keep knocking down. And
Right.
Like, you're at
So-
the top of that list, but y'all don't talk no more. And she may have had other experiences, and now you're in the middle.
That's true.
Or
Yeah.
at
I
the
mean, I may
bottom.
be number 3 now on that list. You know?
Right.
He said 3. I said the bottom.
Hey, don't shoot my ego too much.
So I'm just saying that those things, like, I'm just saying that it matters. I'll say it this way. It doesn't matter if you out there and you get yours.
Go get tested.
Go get tested.
Sexual health is wealth.
All right. Well, Mark, Kiana, thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
fun.
guys. It's been fun. It's been fun.
Raw.
It's been raw. All right. Great to have you guys in today. To the people listening, keep submitting your questions on RAWDOGShow.com, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Somewhere on the scene, it got a little longer, so it seems. I burned out, so to speak. Now come a little closer. I feel a little light in the light track. I felt a bit of bad, but I came back. There's still a little light in the light crack. There's still a bit of good, so good. And I know just what to say. And I know just what to do. And I'm so sick of pain. But it's all too quick with you. Losing this game, I can't afford to be losing this game. And I know it's disrespect. Losing my mind, can't find the words, no, I can't seem to find. But I'm really trying again. Reason, rhyme, and take a time and choose. And hear me now and stop condescending. You see, I'm begging you, hear me, baby. If you seek for love, don't try to hide it. Find it deep inside and try to hide it. If there's a way, I wanna know we tried it. Quit your games and now that you denied it. Losing this game, I can't afford to be losing this game. And I know you deserve respect. Losing my mind, can't find the words. No, I can't seem to find. But I'm really trying to get reason right. Let's take our time and choose. Whether we deep or yellow, whether we deep or shallow. Please me now, cause we're about to lose. Whether we buy or hello, whether we stick or jello. I got room and make amends, but can't go through the same regrets. It could feel so good on mine. Love by love, again. And I know you deserve respect. Or yellow, whether we deep or shallow. Please me now, cause we're about to lose. Whether we buy or hello, whether we step or jump.
Boogie, woogie, woogie, woogie.